Welcome back, and here we are at a new badge. We've got our badge creation. We are going to attempt to create this badge that we see over here on the left, or one like it, or one not at all like it, but just some badge. So it's time to get our creative juices flowing and design a badge. We're going to use some software. Of course, all this is on our assignment sheet right here, and I'm just going to go through this assignment sheet because there's a couple things we need to do on it. First of all, we have a link to the software that we're going to use. I'm going to click that in a minute, but first I want to get the badge that I want to use. Now, as I say, you don't have to do it this way, but if you are interested in doing it this way, if you just think this looks cool for an EC badge, or you just want to follow the steps and just say, I don't need to be creative, I'll just follow steps, you can do it the way I'm doing it, but feel free to think differently if you would like. So I'm going to take this nice blue and gold template one, I decided after looking at them, although I really do like the gray one. I'm going to go with the gray one. I'm just going to click it. It's going to bring it up on my screen, and I am then going to hit download so I can get this onto my computer. So I have the gray badge now downloaded. You'll notice the checker boxes in the back. That means that it is a transparent background, which is what makes it float nicely on other colors, such as when I use slideshows and things like that. So now that it's been downloaded, if I go back to my badges and I go to the website that we're going to use, it should bring us right to the ability to create some badges. So it's another website. There's many websites that do digital badges, and this is one that has a nice badge creator on it. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the same thing in Badger, which is what I use to do the rest of the work in the badges. So we have to go to two different places. So here we have some basic badge looks. So perhaps you think, oh, I think a hexagon, right? Is it an octagon? No, it's a hexagon. I think that might look cool, so I could click on it and I could then start putting some text on here and an icon or something like that. I think that would be really nice to do. But I am going to do an image and go ahead and upload the image that I just downloaded so I can use that one. So I'm going to upload a new image. I put it in my downloads so it's right there. And I will hit open. If I'm going too fast, feel free to pause and try it out. I'll keep it moving along here so that we don't, lose a lot of time as we work. So nice badge. If you wanted to, you could make it a little bit bigger to fill the space, but that doesn't really matter. It's it is what it is. It will look just fine the way it is. And then I might want to put some text on it. The basic ingredients, if I switch back over here to my Keynote, I can just take a quick look at my badge. I basically put the title of the class that I'm teaching at the top, and then the badge in the little banner, and then an icon to remind me of the class. It seems like I'm kind of saying the class and the icon are the same, conveying the same information. So I'm still thinking about if there's other things we could do. And if your badge had levels, you might want stars at the bottom. The idea of being like a 3-star badge versus a 2-star badge. Sometimes I just like to put a star for no real reason because it looks cool. So that is an option, but it's certainly nothing that you would need to do yet. Maybe as you get developing and you think to yourself how badges would look exactly. I have one class where I give different point values for different badges, so I put a number inside the star, and I have other classes that I leave them off entirely, so it can work differently depending on the structure of your badge system that you're thinking about. Okay, so I'm back here. So I might as well do the text first, and I can go ahead and add some text. So I can just type in something like, let's just say I am making some pottery, and what's the name of that class? Ceramics. I guess I have to click. And it's all capitals in the template that I use, so I'm going to do all capitals as well. You certainly don't need to. And then I bring this up to the top. And of course that doesn't look quite right because I could change the color or I could change the font. The official EC font that our graphic designers use whenever they do work is Open Sans, and that is for free right available for us on here, so that looks kind of nice. You could also make it bold, and then we could also change the size because maybe that's a little bit too small. If it gets cut off here, that just means that our box is too small, so we just have to resize our box and let it fill up more of the screen. So maybe something like that. Again, if I go back to here and take a look, well, that's pretty close. It looks like my text is a little bit smaller, but then again, I had a really long class name. Obviously, the color would be the last thing. And I just wanted to quick go back to my badges. I also added these weird color codes, and if you take a look at them and you think, well, I think it would be neat to use our official EC gold color, what you can do is you could highlight this. Actually, you might not need to highlight the hashtag because that's probably in there, but I'm going to highlight this piece of the code, and when I click on here and I go into text color, down here you see the hashtag, and so I can say instead of wanting all sixes, I want mine to be that color, and then it becomes immediately the official color. So that's kind of cool that we can do that. And then we don't have to worry about matching by trying to figure it out where it would be on here. We can just use our colors. All right, and then we need one more piece of text. So I am thinking to myself that the badge to use a pottery wheel would be really nice. I made 2 lines of this, and now it's obviously too big. So I need to shrink it down a little bit. Maybe it's easier to do this if I move it first to get over top of here so I can decide how big I want it to be. Yeah, that's not bad. And then what color do I want this? Oh, I almost forgot to change my font. For some reason I just like Open Sans more on the badges when they're bold, so I'm just making them all bold. And then the color that I want. So again, I could say, well, I want the same orange color, yeah, gold. Or maybe just to see if the light gray looks good, I'll take all 9s. I guess I could have just typed that in here. 6 9s, and it's kind of cool because it matches the color in back of it, which is neat. Let's just say I want white, so I try to drag this up here. If you have a hard time getting the absolute corner of white, see there it is. White happens to be all the letter F, 6 F's in a row. So if you, instead of trying to click and get the most white, you could go and just type in the F, so then you know you have the whitest white. If you ever want all black, you could type in all 0s. Oh, and then I could click somewhere else and lose it. But there's all black. It's the first 2 letters are for the code of how much red to put in. The second 2 are how much are G green, and the last 2 are blue, and that's why. So if you're interested, and then why is it F's and things like that, it's a thing called hexadecimal code. You don't need to know any of those details, but in case you're wondering what in the world it is that you're putting in here, that's what you're doing. It's a little trick that web designers use all the time. Anyway, I am now just down to my icon that I want to fill this space. So let me just, well, sorry, I should go over here first because this says icons, but these are the only icons they have available. You can change the size and shape of them and things like that, but you can't make your own. One thing you could do is you could ask Justin Van Dyke if he could design an icon for your class, perhaps. And so that way you wouldn't have to try to do it. You could just have him do it. Let's see. A nice red star. That doesn't look good at all. But I could put my stars down there using the icons if I wanted to. But that doesn't really have anything to do with ceramics. So I'm not a big fan of those. So maybe I could ask Justin to design a icon for ceramics. I'll warn him that people might be asking him to do that. Or you could just do a quick Google image search and say an icon for clay. What would that look like? Well, let's look up a pottery wheel. And then go to, oh, you know what? It'd make more sense is to search with the word icon in it. And you want something, fairly simple. You don't want it to be too complicated. You also have to think to yourself, am I taking somebody's work and and using it? So you might want to go to tools, usage rights, and see only those that are labeled for reuse, or we're not doing commercial use, so we could say labeled for non-commercial use. But these are not icons. Hmm. Loses a little bit of the icon. Maybe I should go to color and tell it that I want a transparent background. Maybe that'll limit me to the icons I can use. Well, I've got wheels, I've got Pokemon balls, but I'm not seeing any pottery wheel icons, so that's a little bit disappointed. It worked when I didn't say labeled free use, but that doesn't really mean I should just go ahead and steal whatever I want, I suppose, huh? Hmm. Well, that's too bad. Let's try a simpler one and see if we can just think of an art canvas, because maybe all art should be using the same icon. Oh, like maybe something like that would be nice. Yeah, labeled for non-commercial use. Okay, so let's try that one. So I'm going to click on that, and I am going to, so how do I download that, right? So this loads up a whole website, and then I could click download. So I guess that's easy enough. I can do that. So I have an icon down there that I just downloaded. And then I can go back to images over here and upload my image I just downloaded. And then I can put it on here. Unfortunately, as an image, I can't do any of the editing myself on it. So unless you happen to know of an image software program that lets you change the color, or you're going to have to find an icon that has the color that you want. So this isn't perfect, but it's pretty cool and doesn't look bad on there. So I'm kind of happy with this. So I'm ready to hand this in. I'm just going to hit the download badge, and it asks me that it wants my email address so it can start sending me spam. So sorry about that. And there we go. It doesn't give it you a nice friendly name, but in my downloads I now have the icon that I designed. I have a badge, hooray. So that's pretty cool. I hope you have some fun with it. Again, don't feel like you need to follow my steps. You can be creative and think about things on your own. So good luck.